Ladies and gentlemen, let us have a look at the quadratic equation, and we want to use completing the square method to solve the quadratic equation, that is 2x squared minus 13x plus 15. This is very simple, and I want us to find for the value of x using completing the square method. So the first step that we will take is just, since we have the equation that is 2x squared minus 13x plus 15 equals to 0, then we will first divide throughout by 2 on both sides. That is, we divide here by 2, then we divide here by 2, we divide here by 2, and we also divide here by 2. So at this point we will have x squared minus 13 over 2x plus 15 over 2 equals to 0. That is the first step that we will have to take. Now, the second step that we will take is just, we will take this constant, that is 15 over 2, to the right-hand side. Taking 15 over 2 to the right-hand side, we will have on our left-hand side that x squared minus 13 over 2x equals to negative 15 over 2. Now, having that, another step that we will take is just, we introduce a constant, or we add a constant on both sides, that is our left-hand side and to our right-hand side. So adding a constant, for example, let us add a constant k on both sides. We will have our k on that is x squared minus 13 over 2x plus a constant k equals to negative 15 over 2 plus also a constant k. So we have add a constant on both sides. Now, having that, the next step is just to find the value of k. And finding the value of k, that is the constant, k is given by this formula, that is b over 2 squared. B is the coefficient of x, and that is negative 13 over 2. So our k should be negative 13 over 2 divided by these 2. Then we have to square it. So our k will now be negative 13 over 2 times a half, because this is like 2 over 1. Now, then we have to square it. So our k will now be negative 13 over 4, then we will square it. So our k will now be 169 over 16, because if we squared negative 13, we will have 169, and if we square 4, then we will have 16. Now, substituting 169 over 16 in our left, that is, instead of k, we write 169 over 16. Instead of k here, we write 169 over 16. Now, in our left-hand side, we will have x squared minus 13 over 2x plus this constant, that is 169 over 16, equals to negative 15 over 2 plus, that is the constant is 169 over 16. Now, having that, according to completing the square, we will have to find the square. So we have to take we have to take the square root of x squared, and we also have to take the square root of 169 over 16. Then we take this sign. So we shall have, that is the square root of x squared is x, then we take this sign, that is minus. Then we have the square root of 169 is just 13 over the square root of 16 is 4. Then we close the bracket and we square it. Then we equate it to what we have in our right hand side, that is if you combine negative 15 over 2 and also positive 169 over 16, we will have, the LCM is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 times negative 15. 8 times negative 15. Let me confirm with the calculator. That is 8 times 15. that is 120. So 8 times negative 15 will be negative 120. Then plus 16 divided by 16 is 1 times 169 is just 169. Now we have x minus 13 over 4. Then we close the bracket, we square it, is equals to 169. That is a negative 120 plus 169. It is just the same as 169 minus 120. And that is 49 over 16. Now we will have to take the square root on both sides. So taking the square root on both sides, we will have x minus 13 over 4 on our left hand side equals to plus or minus the square root of this. The square root of 49 over 16 is just 7 over 4. Now, having that, we will have to take this negative 13 over 4 to the right hand side, leaving behind x. So we will have our x equals to, that is, if this is negative, then when it crosses an equal sign, it becomes positive 13 over 4. Then plus or minus 7 over 4. Now, having that, our x will now be 8 or 13 plus 7 over 4, or 13 over 4 minus 7 over 4. That is 13 over 4 minus 7 over 4. So now our x will be 13 plus 7 is 20, divided by 4 is 5, or 13 minus 7. 13 minus 7 is just negative 6, not even negative 6, but positive 6. Then divided by 4 will be 1.5. This 13 minus 7, it will be 6. Divided by 4, because the LCM is 4, it is 1.5. So that is how to find a solution of a quadratic equation using completing the square method. So ladies and gentlemen, how I wish that you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, you could like, you could comment. Thank you so much.